Greetings from Kansas City. This is Renee Benson at AV Renee KC, and you are listening to and watching the AV Life.
Hey everyone, this is Murphy Daly, AV veteran, author, and adventurer, coming to you from Southern California, and you're joining us for the AV Life.
Hey, James here, writer for Higher Ed Digital Magazine, the IT and AV column, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life.
Hi, and I'm your host, Tim Van Wert, and I'm sitting here in New Jersey where it's unseasonably warm today, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life. So yeah, we haven't talked about weather here on the show and where we live, so I felt like this needed to happen today because yeah, it's like 63 degrees here in New Jersey today. So I don't know. And something happened to my light. It went dim on me as I was about to do my introduction. So that was a little weird.
Don't anger the ghost.
Yeah, apparently it's like shh. Well, and I think I actually might have a ghost in my house. We like to call him Larry. So Larry the ghost, yes.
Larry the ghost. Is he a nice ghost?
Yeah, just little playful things,
Yeah.
So, door, the door will just kind of open a little bit, or like the little recliner thing kind of moves a little bit on its own,
Let you know
there's probably reasonable explanations for all of them, because it's an electric recliner, so it's probably just like something is not hitting right on the button, so or like the door swells and it moves, so but we like to joke and call him Larry, so Larry the ghost. That's good. Yeah, I know, random thoughts from Tim's head today. So welcome to the AV Life, and let me, before we even get off the rails too far, let me introduce our guest for tonight, Mr. Harry Meade. How are you doing, Harry?
I was gonna say we're already on two wheels. I mean,
well, that's why I gotta like, it's like the lean into it. Like I had to put my weight back on the other side. So at least
everybody lean.
It's like, oh wait, no, that way.
Hi, I'm Harry Meade, at AV Grump on Twitter, and General Contrarian and Reality Seeker.
Well, we do have it. We have the reality here for you, Harry. We're not, the Matrix hasn't been released yet, so we're still not in that headspace. So, but welcome, Harry. We're glad to have you back. We missed you. We missed you last month, so we were glad we were able to get you in here this month before the end of the year. And yeah, this is going to be our last episode for 2021. We're gonna take a couple weeks and enjoy the holidays with our families and friends and all of our AV colleagues. If that's what's happening. And because there was a small group of us that got to hang out with Tim Albright in New York City last weekend, so that was a lot of fun. Yeah, so
I was gonna say I plan on retaining my hermit status and shaking my fist at children that come past my yard.
My lawn.
Yeah.
Get off my
well,
snow.
Especially since you, as I say, you've done a lot of work on your house too, Harry. I've seen. So you have pride.
I was gonna say you haven't seen the local community post. I had.
You're a famous grump.
We'll just call her a local delinquent of the middle school age.
Karen in training. Okay.
She decided it would be a good idea to walk, as she's walking home from middle school, to punt one of my Christmas decorations that's a glass globe on top of a small stick into the driveway and shatter it all over the place. What she didn't know is that I have cameras.
The whole world is on camera. How do people know?
So I put both angles on Facebook, including still pictures of her on the community page in Facebook, and said, hey, if anybody knows who this is, they may want to let their parents know that they're a delinquent and they're taking out Christmas decorations.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
we got a Grinch trying to go after a grump. Oh no.
An hour later, I had a name and an address.
Oh my goodness.
I stood outside the next day,
Mm-hmm.
and her little cohort comes walking by, and she saw me. She saw me out of the corner out of her eye. She saw me standing on the porch, and I heard OS. And I let her go a little bit further, and then I said, "Hey, Daisy, you probably shouldn't kick Christmas decorations in front of a house that's got a bunch of cameras on it." Just stone face, just going.
Poor Daisy is probably having a little issue with that.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I think at least two parties, if not more, got a really good Christmas story out of this.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh, you should have seen some of the moms on the community board. They were out for blood.
Wow. Do you feel satisfied with the with your confrontation?
So far. I want to see if anything else happens. I unfortunately I had to go down to work today, and I'm going down again tomorrow, so I won't be here when she comes by. Because I think it'd just be kind of fun to just sit out there and watch every once in a while.
Just watch her go by slowly.
And
she's gonna not come home this way.
Yeah.
do my Clint Eastwood impression.
No,
Right.
not do that.
I would be careful about that one.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
gonna sit down and do this.
But no, but I made it known on the community page. I said, I have an address, I have a name. The parent, if anything else happens, the parents will find out.
To the
And I
Council
have
of
it all on
Karens,
video.
I got this.
Yes, the Council of Karens.
Very nice. All right. Well, I wish. Ooh, whoa! What just happened?
That's a great.
Sorry, I lost everybody on my screen because
Larry.
Apple decided to do an
Oh.
update, push an update out on my screen. So there we go. There's everybody back. So Harry's all festive. He brought his lights.
Excellent.
Sorry, I have to wear my Chiefs gear because I'm
Okay,
also
well, yeah.
playing San Diego right
That's
now.
all right. Yes, yes. Please. Oh yes, please beat San Diego. I just need that to happen. So
Well, the night is young, but it's 7-0. So we're
Okay.
Ooh,
you're in the
okay.
right direction though. So
Yes.
that's.
Go Chiefs.
we're back. So I'm
So
sorry.
I'll be a Chiefs fan for the night, just so that way you beat San Diego. So that's
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you.
The friend of my enemy is my friend.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Oh, Dick Tracy. Ooh, I haven't seen that movie in a very long time. And that's where I get that line from. I know that's from somewhere else, but I get that from Dick Tracy.
Okay. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
With was that the one with Madonna? Or-
Yeah,
Yes.
Madonna's in it, and
Yeah.
and that's like her first. Was that her first movie role? I think
I think
Maybe.
it wasn't
she's
Evita. It wasn't Evita.
expertly
Evita was after that, I
seeking
think.
season.
Yeah, Vita was definitely after that.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and then I remember McDonald's did like a whole big thing like with finding the criminals and the meals and everything like that during
I
that
worked at McDonald's at that time.
time.
That's right. But I didn't see the movie because I was not allowed out of the house, basically. But it was fun to watch the McDonald's toys. Yeah. Okay.
But that was it was so over the top. And it's funny looking back at that movie and thinking about the technology that we have now. It's like it wasn't that far off.
No.
Like that was at the time was considered, I guess you could say, comic book science fiction, but it's now become science fact. So, Dick Tracy's watch where he had, he was able to call in to people. We could do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I took a call on the watch yesterday from the backyard because I didn't have my phone on me.
Mhm.
I've done
Yep.
that when I can't find my phone and I'm like, hold on, hello, hold on. It's like chase.
Well, for me, it works out when I'm inside of a podium and I'm trying to do work and, I get the call. It's like, okay, answer it. It's like, you're going to have to talk to me on my wrist while I keep working.
My spy watch.
Yeah, exactly. So, All right. Anyway, we're digressing a little bit as we always do. So yes, this is the all firing range episode tonight. We are going to take a little bit different. We only have 2 articles tonight based on what happened last month. So we're going to do 2 articles. We're all going to give our opinions for or against for each one of these articles. Next week, after you hear this episode on Tuesday and on Wednesday, we'll release each one of the articles as well. And we'll have those out, and I'll try not to step on Joe Way's Higher Ed AV podcast as well on Tuesday, but I make no promises because
he wouldn't.
He wouldn't stop for me, but
So
we are trying to be good to stick to our release schedule though. So I don't want to I don't want to squash too much. So
our dedicated listeners can follow up and form their own opinions as they get the chance to look at the articles.
Yes.
And hey, if you have set opinions, dear listeners and consumers, tweet it. We want to hear it. Let us know.
Mm-hmm. Or make comments on the YouTube video where you can comment there. And are you allowed to do? I forget if you could do video responses. That would be interesting if you did video responses. I don't know if I want video responses from some people though.
They do that on YouTube unless you make your own video.
Can on Twitter.
I guess if you made your own video and then linked it over.
I guess on Twitter maybe. I don't know.
Nah, anyway,
figure it out.
Too complicated. Just leave a comment. Let's just we'll
be
just
creative.
Do it that way. Be creative. Yes, we encourage creativity. All right, so here's our first article, and I wish Kim was here because she's the one that always does a very good job of wrapping up these whole things. I don't. So this comes from the Korean Times, and it is: does serving spicy food to young children violate human rights? Controversy has arisen over whether serving spicy foods as part of children's school lunches at kindergartens attached to elementary schools is in violation of their human rights. Parents are showing mixed responses over the issue after a civic group filed a complaint with the National Human Rights Commission of Korea against the Ministry of Education. In Korea, some public kindergartens are attached to public elementary schools to share space and the facilities of the schools. Let's see, I'm just kind of scanning through this. So all the students are served the same foods, regardless of being at different stages of physical development, with quite a lot of foods containing spicy seasoning, including kimchi. So spicy foods for kindergartners. And is that really a human rights violation? Now, that's a very extreme phrase to be using when you're talking about serving children food.
Okay.
So who wants to go first? I will. The floor is open. Renee?
Well, those of you with smaller children, you and James, you guys should.
Yeah.
Each one of you.
I mean, so here's the thing. My son he's an incredible eater. Like, he does not shy away from things. Like, he eats sushi, he eats shrimp, he eats, so, but I will say he is not a big fan of spicy food. So, and he's in first grade now. So, but like everything that they're showing me on these like bento box pictures here that they serve to all the kids, which from the ages of 8 to 13 or 5 to 13, that's a large age range. Like, when I was 13, I was a teenage boy who was eating ridiculous amounts of food. But I could handle spicy things. Me at 5 and 6, no, I couldn't do that. Why would you serve? I know it's probably cheaper to serve all that stuff in one big bulk, but you need to meet the needs of your population, not just what's easy for you as a distributor, for lack of a better term. So, human rights violation. It's such a, what's that?
There's a lot of fancy little dishes on like shrimp and oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there should be a kindergarten friendly option.
Well, my biggest question on the whole thing is, how does it compare to what they're eating at home? I mean, if it's fairly standard. I mean, I don't know enough about the culinary habits of South Koreans to be able to say if that is standard Korean culinary fare, but if it matches up with what they're eating at home, then what's the problem?
Right.
I think we've gotten very hyperbolic in society at large, where everything is the world is ending. So
Right.
it's no, it is. I will take the stance that no, it is not a human rights violation to feed Korean food to small Koreans.
Touche.
Yeah, and I was thinking of like, the only way that there could be a human rights violation is if it is medically known that whatever this spice or whatever is
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, just a standard,
damage
standard
to
allergy.
esophagus or their intestinal tract because they're so young. If there's something medical, and be like, yeah, this is wrong. But then it's like, I don't know. When I went to school, we had the menu for the week. And I knew like, oh, I don't like that. So on Tuesday, I'm taking my lunch, right? No, but Wednesday's chili. I'm eating it. Like, can't you see what's on the menu and go, well, I don't want my kid to eat that today. It's too spicy. So I'm sending them a sandwich to school. Like, can't you just opt out of it if you don't want it?
I mean, but that's the thing too. I mean, like Harry said, like in a way that maybe these kids, this is what they get. Like, this is their food for the day. Like, there may not be an option at home to send something to school. There are a lot of kids like in the inner cities up, here in the Northeast, that is their meal. If they don't have that, they don't have anything. So
that's the thing here in America. The school lunch is for certain families, that's what they get. So when the schools were shut down for COVID, they were like handing out lunch to the kids, even though. So they're like, this is all the food you get. And they didn't even ask questions. They're like, anybody that wants a lunch, come get one.
Yep, they did that here too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case,
kind of get what you get, right?
Well, yeah, like how hungry are you?
Yeah. All right, go ahead, James. I saw you on mute before, so that's why.
No, I agree. I don't think this is a human rights violation. We all have choices. They're not forcing the kids to eat this. I'm sure there's a cold lunch available. So, and again, who knows? Maybe the kids enjoy it. We, as a society, got to stop judging and saying, oh, well, I don't like it, therefore nobody else must like it. Maybe the kids actually enjoy it. Maybe they like this spicy food. Because I know my kids, my oldest likes a spicy food. My younger daughter, not so much. She'll eat some spice, but not as much as my oldest. So, I mean, each has their own.
My last thing on it is, it seems like it's another example of people getting offended on behalf of other people.
Oh, that doesn't happen anymore at all here.
It's like, if the parents have a problem with it, then the parents can complain.
It's a national hobby to be offended on behalf of anyone.
Yeah.
An international hobby, clearly.
Story.
Dear Lord, it is on
hobby.
Twitter.
Yeah, well, so I was going to say, Harry and everybody, there's something I know about the parents of kindergartners. There's high turnover. And to change a national policy takes some staying power.
High turnover of.
It's not the same parent. The kindergartner goes on to first grade in like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's not the way I was listening.
Tim and I were tracking.
Yeah.
I was following Murphy. I got you.
Yeah. And so there was this one time.
How many parents are turning over their
The
kids?
kindergartners have high parental turnover.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, we're out. Yeah. Hand him to the
Oh,
next
this
Like,
week.
oh, no, I can't handle
crap.
it
It's my
anymore.
week for Timmy.
We had somebody doing like a Oh my goodness, at the daycare, and the daycare, which is longer, a couple of years, like they start at age 3 or 2 or whatever, where my daughter went to school, and they're like, we need to have 2 days a week of different language, a Spanish language as well as the English that ever, and then they had this whole policy and this thing. And before it was even done, the person who had their kid in the daycare had taken their kid somewhere else anyway. So I'm like, well, that was a lot of work for no actual result at the end. So that's one thing I want to say about that, because you're like, hey, there's some people getting worried about something that they really going to have the sticking power to be upset and like have a change of national policy, which is crazy that lunches are national. That really seems like a local thing. I would like to have, local food for whatever. Anyway, second, kids are picky. If we're going to say, oh, don't give them, it's a human right to have them eat what they like. Some of them, as we've said, will enjoy the spicy, some won't. My kid personally will throw up whenever she eats hot dogs. So is it a human right to never have a hot dog at their lunch? It's like when it's a hot dog, we make sure to give her a sandwich instead. So.
Well, but they did say something in that article about some of them getting indigestion or some of them having some things like that. It's like, I guess would it have to be a certain percentage of the kids to be, if 80% of the kids are getting indigestion and they're spending the afternoons in the bathrooms.
However,
or feeding.
Also, having been a lunch lady, and I did a little video about this on Instagram, having been a person who made food for a daycare for a while, and I think everyone who's eaten at school cafeterias know that the quality control is not high. So,
they are consistent. They are consistent about that, at least.
I was going to say, child of the late 70s and 80s here, and square pizza on Fridays is a human right.
Yeah.
Especially in New Jersey. I
was going to say, square pizza on Fridays is what you do.
Amen to that. Yeah.
Mass production of Elio's pizza on Fridays.
This would be an interesting thing to ask of this story, which I didn't really see anything discussion. Are there dads wanting this, or is this all moms? Because maybe the dads are like, yeah, it'll toughen the kid up. Yeah. Eat a little kimchi. It'll make you grow. I'm just wondering.
Maybe.
What's the Korean version of a clutch of Karens?
Yes.
I don't know, and I'm not going to venture to guess because I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh, I was going to say that is such a thorny road that we should not go down.
It's an international phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think it needs to be localized in that way.
And when in doubt, just go to the school board, invite the media, and just have a complete throwdown. There you go.
Yep. There you go.
Yes.
Human rights, though, issue, no, I don't think.
It's that's such a strong term. Like that means like you're oppressing the kids. Like, are you really oppressing the kindergartners? Like, I'm sure for like the other, 6 hours of the day that they're at school, they're probably fine. It's like, so.
It's all human rights now.
Is that Avenue Q Part 2? Like, that's like,
I don't know. It's a Murphy original.
Murphy original. Okay.
Saw here first.
Yeah, that's copyright, trademarked. Where it's all to Murphy. So
yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So I think we're all in agreement that it's at least not a human right violation. So it's like, get out and eat your kimchi, kids.
Yeah, slip it to the dog like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Dogs love it.
Yes, but does it then become an animal rights violation if
you
spicy?
Oh, then we got PETA. Then we got the Korean version of PETA, and it's
fun for everyone. Everyone can protest.
Anyway, okay, so that was yeah. So we'll share that one out on Tuesday, so that way you can give your 2 cents on this. as well. And you know what? These articles, take them with you, take them home. And you know what? Instead of talking about politics at Christmas, talk about these. So this is our
You're
gift
welcome.
to you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Talk about
Great.
human rights violations by the lunch lady.
Yeah. And two of my very good friends are lunch ladies. I can't wait to share this article with them.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so yeah, that's what happened. That's what my Instagram video was about. Right before we got an email. All the people in our school district, that power is out at the junior high where my daughter goes. Power's out at the junior high. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like 11:15. Like, they will be served lunch, but it will be cold. And I thought, oh my gosh, they usually get a hot lunch. So I'm imagining all of these lunch ladies bettering all the peanut butter sandwich they possibly can. Oh, get it all done, because it was like right before lunch. What are you going to do? They probably had like whatever they were going to serve, but like in trays in the oven, but it wasn't there. Like, oh, no oven. This isn't going to happen. And I'm thinking, those poor lunch ladies. Then we get another email. It'll be okay. And another email saying it's on again. Not only did they have to panic, but then they did. And I asked my daughter, what'd you have for lunch? She goes, it was really good. I'm like, I thought it was freshly cooked. Yeah.
So they just need to act in that mode every day, because then all the kids get freshly hot lunch every day. But I can't even imagine the heart attacks that were going over.
And yeah, I don't know. Tough. It's tough.
All right. So speaking of the human body and heart attacks and things like that. So we go from human rights violations to creating the perfect human. So this one comes to us from
I tried to do with me and my husband.
Oh, well, you know,
nice.
Isn't that always the goal? You know,
let me know how that works out, because I could really use some advice.
Well, no, I mean, we created my daughter.
Right. That's
I thought you meant.
Oh, see, now this time I understand where Murphy was going with that.
Oh no, I was right on board with Murphy. That 100% tracking. Everything was good.
But yeah, I mean, you know, see, there you go. We need some like after the fact improvements. This is often the case when, you know, a spouse that needs a little betterification.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So in this case, so this article talks about, can or should we build a better person? The word this week's word is transhumanism.
God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And basically the Encyclopedia Britannica describes transhumanism as a social and philosophical movement devoted to promoting the research and development of robust human enhancement technologies. Such technologies would augment or increase human sensory reception, emotive ability, or cognitive capacity, as well as radically improve human health and extend human lifespans. So, how far is too far, I guess, is really what we're at.
Have these people never watched a damn movie?
Yeah.
Seriously, this never ends well.
Nope.
No.
It could be dinosaurs, it could be humans. It never ends well. So, like, you know, with Jurassic Park, you have Ian Malcolm like talking about Jeff Goldblum's character, for those who may not know. He's talking about, you know, you got all this knowledge and you kept building it, and you kept doing it and you kept doing it. He's like, and you never asked yourself, should we be doing this?
Right.
So, and I'm paraphrasing, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
He says it way better than I do. But
okay.
So yeah, this article talks about that we use LASIK, Prozac, vaccines, organ transplants to make our bodies better and faster and stronger. You know, we're the $1 billion man, you know. So
I wanted to take issue with that particular assertion that they made, because they make all those things about, oh, we're going to make making bodies better, faster, stronger. It's like, you do an organ transplant when one's dying.
Mhm.
So that basically is trying to get you back to baseline, and it never really gets you completely back to baseline.
Right.
Mhm.
LASIK, you're trying to put your eyes back where they were. um all this other stuff, it's like, okay, no, that's just trying to maintain status quo in an ever losing battle to maintain status quo. What these other things are like, taking you over and above what 100% was.
Yeah.
And that's when you start getting into possessed robot limbs and things like
Yeah.
that.
Super weird brains because you're putting something in your brain to make it.
I don't need a USB jack on the side of my head.
Yeah, no.
No, I want the giant needle.
Neuromancer.
Since we're talking about the Matrix, I want the giant needle in the back of my head.
That would be lovely. Yeah, let's do that.
Uh-huh.
I
That's
guess
a
it's
plan.
all about everybody's own definition of it. Like, like I think some of the plastic surgery people do is insane. Like, why are you doing that to your body? But they feel better about themselves if they have enhancements or whatever. But I look at it like that seems ridiculous. But what
Some
is
enhancements are
me,
nice to
like,
look at.
That, oh my God,
Whatever.
Larry, oh my
whatever
goodness.
whatever floats your boat.
I was talking about calf implants. Where was your dirty
Right.
mind
Exactly.
going?
Kim Kardashian. Just think of Kim
Renee, I gotta
Yeah.
say, I'm with you on this one because it's fine for individuals to make an individual choice about what they would like out of their body and their life and their humanness. But where I would be very distressed if other people started making laws or requirements. As with almost anything, this is fine for people who are able to make these choices. It's not okay to subject people who don't have freedom or autonomy for other people to do it to them. That would be horrifying and bad. But if someone individually wants that, then that's fine. I know some people. This is near LA, right? And so there are people who permanently install vampire teeth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when
all
they
right.
do
Is that really an upgrade though?
Yeah. But when
I
they
I feel
do
like
it,
I'd be the
really-
one biting my lip all the time
Yeah.
and bleeding
Yeah.
at the mouth, and people are gonna think I'm like I got punched in the mouth or something like that.
Well, they're not really hurting anybody. Well, I don't know. We might be hurting people, but I'm like, if you're walking around
Only
with
the willing.
big
Consent
giant
needle.
whatever, or big butt, you're not really hurting anybody. But if we start installing stuff in your brain or jacking around with your DNA, how do we know what the outcome is going to be? How you are with people? I mean, like some of those movies, I watch too much TV too. Harry.
Oh.
But it's like some of those people that get all jacked up, and then next thing you know, they're murdering people and squashing people and doing. It's like,
True.
what if you're jacking with somebody's brain and that makes them become this really awful?
Violent psychopath.
To me, there's a difference between just physical alteration.
Right.
Okay. Basically, you have physical alteration, you have replacement, and then you have enhancement. And for me, the first two are more physical, but if you get into the enhancement, like if they're talking about like literally doing like chips in the brain and things like that, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
where does that go? What kind of guardrails do we have for that sort of thing? Where does the logical conclusion of that go? I mean, we can see where plastic surgery goes. And we've definitely seen some over the years of bad ones. But I mean, people are getting more bionic limbs now, even if they're not like there are limits to what the bionic is attached to. So maybe if you have a bionic like forearm, you could conceivably crush something with your hand that you couldn't as a human, but it's attached to your friggin' arm at some point. So at some point it's going to have to be the strength of what a normal person is,
Right.
before it breaks. And so that sort of thing, I don't have as much of a problem with. It's the altering DNA type things, and it's the cognitive stuff
Mhm.
that just has bad possibilities written all over it.
Yeah. And I mean, I know there's ways now that they could correct like certain genetic defects before even babies are born and things like that. And I know there's a whole slew of
That's kind of
people that
scary.
have, was that
That's kind of scary to me.
right? And that's it.
Correcting babies. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's part of this conversation as well. You know, there's a whole group of people that, yes, we can do that, but I mean, is it what we should be doing? Like, you know, and I mean, yes, I mean, I don't want to see any child have to struggle or suffer or, you know, anything like that. So there's a very deep moral argument that goes on when it comes to certain things like that. So, but I don't want to get too deep.
Yeah.
Dark.
It's dark.
Did you say what you thought, James?
It's basically the same line as everyone else is. Look at social media. It gave a voice to the voiceless that some of these people should remain voiceless. And I feel this path that they're taking is extending the not to sound grim or bad here, is extending the life of people who probably nature should have taken care of. Like I always like this saying is, I'm not saying go out and kill all the idiots. I'm just saying remove all the warning labels and let nature take its course.
Oh my Wow.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and that's kind of look at it is nature has a way of keeping it balanced, and us humans are trying to find ways to disrupt that balance. I mean, a human life was only supposed to last so long, and now we have people living 100 plus. Is what kind of quality of life are people having, or are we just in this endless time of trying to see how long we can go? Again, I look at quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah, I
that's the
know, a
thing.
little
Like,
grim. I do apologize.
so, and it's funny because, but you bring up a good point though, and I could actually relate this to Disney, and I threw it in the chat here. In the movie The Incredibles, the villain Syndrome, who was a good, I guess you could say he was a good guy. As a child, he idolized Mr. Incredible and wanted to be his sidekick and all that. He created devices that gave him the super abilities that all the other supers had. And he says a line in there that it always sticks with me. And he says, he's like, when everybody's super, nobody will be. So when you change that baseline and you raise that baseline where everybody is on the same baseline, it's like, how boring is that? You know, if we're all
Right.
the same, what's that?
Right, I agree.
Yeah, if we're all the same, what's the point? There's no human, what do they call them? And when the human success stories, and you know, like like those sort of movies of like what is it? Not see, now I got Incredibles in my head and I can't get rid of it.
Y'all and-
Invincible.
Oh.
The football movie with what's his name?
Come on, football people.
Oh,
I'm totally forgetting what his
Rudy,
name is.
right? No.
Well, though there
No.
is Rudy. There is Rudy as
many.
well.
Yeah.
There's Rudy as well with Sean Astin,
O.J.
and
Simpson?
there's that. No, Invincible was the one with the Jets. He was a Jets football
Mark
player.
Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. Thank you.
Oh yes.
You know, it's
Exactly.
average Joe on the street succeeds at being a football player. Now, if he managed to get all the enhancements or, you know, upgrades and just became a football player, the story sucks. There's no story there, you know. So for entertainment purposes alone.
I kind of just to go to another movie. I kind of look at Alita Battle Angel. If you look at the background of what's going on in Alita Battle Angel, they're like the general populace is getting like cybernetic limbs and all kinds of stuff. Just and some people are addicted to it, where they keep going and going and going and going, and they're just basically organs in a shell by the time it's all said and done. Some people are just getting different arms so that they can do a particular job.
I can't help thinking about the Capitol in Hunger Games.
Oh yeah,
All the perfect people, and yep.
Well, perfect and weird. And also they got a chance because they were in the place where they had enough food, had the chance to do that where the people in the whatever other areas couldn't, which is inevitable, I think, in this question.
Yep. Yeah, because that's the other thing is when you start getting into that, you start very much stratifying society based on who can get what, and you think you've got a class problem now. Wait till that stuff starts happening.
Right. So yeah, so maybe we should just be very careful about where we tread here. Yeah.
Speaking of treading, I have to leave, my friends.
Thank you very much, Murphy.
Be very careful.
Yes. Be careful out there. Yes.
Bye, Murph.
Bye, Murphy.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, who draws the line at what is the line of, okay, this is okay, and this is definitely not okay. It just seems like we just keep, as a society, we just keep pressing, pushing those boundaries. And, somebody mentioned earlier about, God, what word it was? I can't remember it, but it's just it's like people care less than they used to. I feel like it's all about me, right? People it feels like people are a lot more selfish than we used to be. And it's like, it's all about me. I want my brain to be bigger, so I'm going to go do this. Well, how do you know what that's going to affect everybody around you? Like, are you still going to treat your family decent? Are you still going to be are you still be able to do your job, or will you not be challenged enough? So you got to go do other things. It just seems like it's just too life altering, but who makes that decision? If you get a big butt implant, maybe that's life altering how you sit the rest of your life, but life altering on these other weird things.
You sit forward a little bit more,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have a different kind of chairs.
It's a whole new line of office chairs that have a little recess in the back.
I was gonna say extra ass room. But unfortunately, due to human nature, basically what will happen is things will go and go and go until something really crappy happens. And then it will get clamped down on.
Yeah, then it'll be too late.
So
somebody that got too hurt, or
somebody's gonna go nuts with a cybernetic implant. And then we need to stop that now. So that's the speed of government. That's the speed of regulation. It's reactionary, not pro whatever the name word should be. Words.
Proactive.
Proactive. There we go. I've been up since 4. It's bad.
That's okay.
So it's always going to be reactionary. So whenever it's going to go until something bad happens, and then we'll we'll go from there. And so So unfortunately, you're not going to prevent the bad thing. The bad thing is going to prevent further bad things.
Yeah,
Right.
I think so too. And that's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's kind of, I hate to look at it this way, but we're basically a car. Like there's certain parts you could, if it can be replaced, you should replace them. But then there's other parts that once they go, that's it, So and I only think that
Car
way.
is totaled.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
right, exactly.
And I think that way just because I went through the whole car buying process and a car dying, and so I get it. But yeah, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to go out and buy myself a whole new body. This isn't RoboCop or anything like that. It's like can't just take my brain and vertebra and put me into a machine.
No.
I don't want that.
Yeah. I make and it's funny you bring up the car thing. I make the joke because I've got a knee replacement. That I mean, short version on knee replacement, it's 2 metal pieces with a plastic pad in between them. and I make the joke that now that I've gotten it replaced, I can go in 10 years or 15 years or whatever and get the pads replaced. if I don't take it all the way down to the rotors. If I take it to the rotors, I might need to get new rotors, and that's going to be much more of a deal.
Yeah. Like you said, that's just bringing you back to.
Exactly. Yeah, that was taking it, because by the time I got the knee replacement, I was good for about 20 minutes of any kind of walking / standing before I would get surly.
Yeah.
I don't know who, Tim, this was your first Infocom, so you didn't see it, but I had a scooter 4 years ago, I think, at Infocom. Whatever. Yeah, I guess it was 4 years ago. So it was 2017. It was 2016 because it was the year before, because I got it replaced in 2017. So it was 2016. Oof, Jesus, 5 years. Okay. Anyway, I had a scooter. One of the little ECV things, the bane of our existence at Disney, Tim. I had one of those because there was no way in hell I was going to be able to do an Infocom show with as bad as the knee was.
Right.
And so getting a knee replacement took me back to most of where I was.
See, that's
so
different.
and that's where, I mean, that's probably a good baseline for what we should be doing. Like, it's like, okay, I can do something that can bring me back to close to 100%.
Right.
Excuse me. But I shouldn't be like, okay, now I'm the $6 billion man and I can run 60 miles an hour, and
that would be pretty fun, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Be cool, but,
yeah.
but
who needs to commute if I could run 60 miles per hour?
Exactly.
Just run to work.
Yeah.
Just the word robust. What was it? Robust human enhancement technology. I'm like, what?
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought we were talking about butt implants, not it. No.
Yeah, robust.
Enhanced, human enhancement technology. I'm like, that's awfully fancy word for you're going to jack yourself up.
Pretty much.
Don't do that. Transhumanism.
Yeah, that's the word of the week, folks. Any last thoughts before we close out here?
Don't do
James, it. You're good. James, you're good. Okay, and I think Harry's definitely given his piece for tonight as well.
Interesting.
What's that?
Interesting articles.
Well, hey, thank Kim for this one. These ones, as always, she finds the articles. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us tonight to join in on the fun, but we'll be back again at the end of January for more firing range. We're gonna, like we've been saying, we're gonna keep up with this at the end of every month. We'll just go all firing range and pew pew our way through the episode. Because we didn't do that, so I'm doing it.
Earlier.
That's all right. We got it in. So
Okay.
So thank you. So thank you, Harry, for joining us tonight. Much appreciated. Always a good time.
Well, it was my pleasure.
Yeah. And you can find Harry at the AV Grump.
Yeah, at AV Grump. Generally poking holes in people's golden theories and
I love it.
and instilling a sense of realism and such to things that may be discussed on Twitter.
Well, we
Well,
always need
Keep us updated on the kid in the neighborhood.
yeah.
I was
Let
gonna
us know
say
what happens.
it'll be interesting. I think yeah, Monday's the next time I'm home when she's gonna be walking by, and I think I need to go sit in my rocking chair.
Yeah. With a marshmallow launcher, because they don't hurt. They're just annoying, Just,
Get off my lawn.
all right. And to James and to Renee, thank you as always. Always a pleasure having my crew with me every week. And thank you for a great year. And also to Murphy as well. And to the rest of the crew who is not with us. Hopefully starting in 2022, we're going to have everybody back. I know, there's a lot going on, end of year type stuff. So we're hopeful that we'll get the full crew back in strength come January. To all of our listeners out there, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Hanukkah early this month, happy Hanukkah. And happy New Year. Stay safe. Be kind, because we're all running around crazy this year, I feel like. And some people haven't been out in 18 months. So, be kind and gentle to them, because they probably aren't ready for what it's about to come at them. So having said that, thank you for 2021, and until our next adventure.